America. In Peru, she picked up a song that became one of her most memorable hits. The lyrics were about a couple thrown together in a crowd.
It was the story of a man that she was dancing with, and then they suddenly become separated by the crowd. And she could never find the man again. When I tell it to you like this, of course, it doesn't really make sense. But when she sang it, it was extraordinarily moving.
Et je crispe mes poings, maudissant la foule qui me vole, l'homme qu'elle m'avait donné que je n'ai jamais retrouvé.
The song was a metaphor for Piaf's frenzied life in the public eye. Stardom had been good to Piaf, rescuing her from the poverty of her childhood, but it had also taken a toll on her health and her personal life. By the time of the Carnegie Hall performance, her marriage to Peels was falling apart, and in May 1957, they divorced. The following year, she fell in love with a young singer and guitarist named Georges Moustaki. Moustaki moved into Piaf's Paris flat.
C'est-à-dire que quand on était à ses côtés en tant que
When you were with her as a companion, lover, author, and professional partner, you really had to be there for her creatively.
il fallait répondre à sa soif de créativité.
To some, it might look tyrannical, but it was stimulating for me. After a few months, I had already composed quite a few songs for her based on her specific ideas.
Beaucoup de chansons pour elle.
It was really thrilling for me to write for her.
Ses idées précises. C'était très passionnant d'écrire pour elle.
The couple's most famous collaboration was the song Milord, about a Paris prostitute.
The origin of the song Milord was really one word, because she really had this sense, this intuition about words. So she asked me to write her a song. She always liked tragic stories. She always thought about situations that could become songs.
And this is a lady of the night that looks at this gentleman, and he looks so dashing and handsome. And he looks sad, and he looks towards the ocean because the woman he loves left. And she's the lady of the night that says, "Come to me, I'll make you forget it."
Allez, venez, Milord, vous asseoir à ma table. Il fait si froid dehors. Ici, c'est confortable. Laissez-vous faire, Milord.
At 42, Piaf was as productive as she had ever been. But years of hard living and a series of physical ailments were taking their toll. Following a car accident, she had been prescribed morphine and struggled to fight off an addiction to the painkiller. And there was another demon, a lifelong addiction to alcohol that continued to plague her.
She was really dependent on alcohol. It was very hard for her to stop, as much as she tried. It made her very sad. She claimed she wasn't addicted, but she really was a victim of it.
There was a story told that she couldn't even see a glass of wine on the counter. It made her feel drunk to look at it. And nobody ever said to her, stop drinking, or if they did, she took no notice. It was just part of life.
And fate, as always, was not kind. Driving to Orly Airport on a dark, rainy night in 1958, Piaf and Moustaki had a near-fatal car accident.
We were on a very slippery road. It was already raining very hard, and a truck pulled out into an intersection. When I saw it, it was too late. I hit the brakes, but the road was so slippery I crashed into the truck. Everything happened in a second. Piaf was thrown out of the car, and I was pinned under the steering wheel.
Piaf a été éjecté, et moi j'ai été coincé par le volant.
Piaf suffered head injuries, but no broken bones. Eager to get back to work, she sang at New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel just weeks later. But there were more health problems to contend with. On the 20th of February 1959, she collapsed on stage at the Waldorf and was rushed to hospital. There, she was diagnosed with a perforated stomach ulcer. Despite her new health problems, which included chronic rheumatism, she maintained a rigorous performance schedule. In October 1960, just weeks before she was due to open at the Olympia, Piaf embarked on a series of concerts that became known as the Suicide Tour.
People still came and admired her, and one was always rather glad that one wasn't there. But if anyone tried to stop her, she'd have ignored them completely. And I think an aging singer or an aging actress, it is rather a sad thing, isn't it? You wish they'd have the strength of mind to stop, but they rarely have.
At 45, Piaf did not know how many more years she had left. The certainty was that whatever days remained would be full of passion, drama, romance, and a few more curtain calls before the spotlight dimmed.
He was extremely devoted, very tender and very kind.
Well, this was almost mother and son, in a way, because she was so much older. And yet he appeared to organize her. A very curious relationship. And people said, really, you know, he's much too young, you can't marry him. But she did.
On the 9th of October 1962, Piaf and Lamboukas were married in a Greek Orthodox ceremony. As she had many times before, she set out to make her latest protégé a star. Just as Louis Le Play had given Piaf her stage name years before, Piaf turned Theophanis Lamboukas into Theo Serpo, from the Greek word for love. Together they performed in Paris and toured the south of France. As her health deteriorated, Piaf became the embodiment of a show business cliché. She truly lived for the stage.
She wasn't able to stand up on her feet. You know, she was almost carried to the stage. But what was fantastic that once she started singing, you know, it was a survival.
But singing couldn't stave off the inevitable. On the 10th of April 1963, Piaf was rushed to hospital where an edema of the lung was diagnosed. She fell into a coma for 2 weeks. When she was well enough, Serpo took her to the south of France to recover. She never sang in public again.
Well, that was sad. There she had this young man who was utterly devoted, took her down to this village in the south of France, thought she ought to have a nice, quiet, restful time, looked after her very carefully.
Old friends and lovers came to visit the ailing singer. On the 9th of October 1963, she slipped into another coma and died the next afternoon. But France wasn't to learn of its loss for another day. First, Piaf had to return to Paris.
She was a kid of Paris. So once she was dead, they carried the corpse in an ambulance and drove back to Paris. And the death certificate was made in Paris the day after. She didn't die the day it's written on the death certificate, but the day before, you know, and not in Paris, but in the south.
You couldn't have this great French star dying in a little Provençal village. Serpo transported her secretly at night in a car so that it could be given out in Paris the next day. Madame Piaf est morte à Paris. She had to die in Paris. She was so closely associated with her.
So I think that was the final point of the legend.
For several years, Piaf's death had seemed imminent, but when it came, the country was stunned. On the 14th of October, 40,000 mourners crowded into Père Lachaise Cemetery, where Piaf was laid to rest among some of her country's greatest artists, writers, politicians, and performers.
One can't be too sad about her for too long. Think of her bright moments and the photographs of her laughing, which were fortunately quite a lot of them about. I think one likes to remember those more than the tearful ones.
She looked at her life and she said it many times. If I did not have the life that I did, I would not be able to sing the way that I do.
She was subjected to all these terrible trials of life, accident and illness and loss and all the rest of it. But somehow or other, she got over all that. And I think that's a form of genius, really. She made all that life into her songs and into the legend of herself at the same time.
Je sais pas son nom, je ne sais